Welcome to Turtle Talk. This is Morgan's story and the family's journey. I'm Craig, and
I'm Michelle. Welcome.
welcome to episode 2 of Turtle Talk,
Welcome.
Morgan's story and the family's journey. And where we left off last time was the vision you had while praying and holding Morgan's hand.
Yes.
We're in about the first 48 hours of ICU.
Yes.
And
It was
yeah,
a horrible situation. Still, I mean, it gut wrenching. You don't know if your child's going to live or die. So that vision I got, Jesus walking with Morgan, was actually a comfort at that moment. What it meant, I didn't know. That I knew she wasn't leaving us. That was the one piece. However, the fear of death and the fear of losing your loved one at a moment when you're not ready for it, that's more predominant than anything else you could feel. It just, it was just tough. I know Jesus was walking with us and with her, but I also thought he was going to take her. And I wasn't, as a mom, I was not ready for that. It was hard. There was a lot of emotions run high no matter what it is. If you're in a trauma situation, emotions are high. So not just with Tom and I and our family, but with all the families. Tom and I left in the middle of the night to go save Morgan. My parents joined us at the hospital, and I had to call my brother and tell him Morgan had been in this accident. And I said, I need you to do me a favor. Like, this is big. This is epic big. I need you to go be at my house when my children wake up. And I need you to tell them what's going on. So can you imagine? I still feel bad that I had to ask him to do that I couldn't do that myself. As a parent, I couldn't take care of my other children because I was taking care of Morgan.
pressing need.
He did a beautiful job. He really did. He is always like the Rock of Gibraltar. He's so calm. So I was very thankful that he was willing to do that for me. And then he brought the kids to the hospital. And I hated that point because there were so many questions and no answers.
Still no
I
answers.
couldn't answer any of it. And the triplets were 12 at the time. Like, their whole world just got rocked, and I couldn't fix it. I couldn't fix Morgan, and I couldn't fix them. Tom couldn't do it either. And then we have all this drama with, the doctors believing that Morgan was driving or the other boys were driving. Who was driving? And, then we had the driver, the actual driver, was in a room right next to Morgan. And if you've ever been to ICU, there's not a lot of privacy there. So you can hear everything. And that family was bashing our family, bashing Morgan. Well, if she hadn't done this, then they wouldn't be in this position. Or if she hadn't insisted they go on a date, or, it was the blame game.
Already.
So we're about 48 hours in and the blame game started. And of course, now mind you, in the background, we still have the highway patrol and the police lingering around, which was horrible. Like, I don't know any more than you guys do. You actually know more than we do, and you're not sharing the information. So, like, what the hell do we do? I mean, that was the big, profound question. What the hell do we do? They're trying to blame her. The driver's family is trying to blame Morgan and the other passenger. The other passenger, his family was like, what's going on? Nobody had answers, but there were a ton of questions. And it just was awful. We got to the point where we had to We called Tom's cousin. She's an attorney. And we called her and we said, we don't know what to do. This is not good. The thing's going on. We don't feel like anybody's looking out for Morgan's best interest. So what do we do? And she says, I will represent you until I can help you find another lawyer. You're probably going to need one. And so that was a nice little source of comfort that we were able to say, hey, just talk to our attorney.
It's a nice buffer.
It was a nice buffer because then the hard questions we couldn't answer went to her. So thank you for that. But the drama between the families just became crazy. And all of a sudden, instead of us all being a unit praying and hoping the best outcome for all three of the kids, it now became everybody's in their own corner and there's barbs getting snarped at each other. So
Gotta drain the positivity.
we're already hanging on by a thread and we're trying to keep the officers from bothering us, and we don't know how to answer anything, although we didn't know anything to answer. And then you have the other family who's trying to get you to say something so maybe they can use it against you. And it was awful. The whole thing was awful. And all we wanted to do was save Morgan. So all we wanted to do was save her. And I remember one day, I don't know, we're still like in the first week and a half. We had got a family room. It's so we wouldn't have to sit in the waiting room. We could be in this little doorless family suite or whatever. And so they gave us one right away because what we were told is the worst cases in ICU get the family rooms. So that was kind of a gut punch there. The worst cases, each one of the kids was extremely badly injured. The one, had like a fracture in the neck, not paralyzed. Thank you, Jesus. But, suffering from that, the driver, multiple broken bones and Lord only knows what else, and then we have Morgan with the brain injury. The broken femur was nothing, but the brain injury was everything. So all these kids are fighting to survive, fighting to just get through, multiple surgeries, hauled off to surgery right away, have to go to surgery to put in a brain monitor, and then we have to go to surgery to get some PICC line or something put in, and then we have to go to surgery to straighten the leg. And it was a whirlwind. So not only are you worrying about all of these things, and is she going to survive the surgery? Is she going to survive the drilling the hole in the brain? I mean, it just, you worry about every little thing, and then to top it off, here we are in ICU and she's vulnerable. And then we had people show up who had colds and they went back and they're hacking all over. Well, she's in ICU in this critical condition. And, thank goodness for some of the nurses, because the nurses we said, nobody, if they're sick, get them out of here. So they were very good about clearing them out, saying, I know this is your family, your relatives, your whatever, but
Oh man.
use your head.
Yes.
So like, if I could encourage anybody to do anything, is it wasn't a slight against anybody, not that we didn't want them in there, but it's like, stop and think for a minute, use common sense that if I'm sick and I'm going into ICU, that person is extremely vulnerable. Do we really need to make them sick? on top of everything else that we're fighting.
Right.
But of
Neat.
course, there was tension because of that. And we were just trying to protect her. Like if she would have gotten pneumonia, that could have killed her. And we're fighting to save her. So we get this family room. And oh gosh. I tell you what, we had some amazing friends. They'd put food in a crock pot and bring it in the morning on their way to work. And we'd plug it in, and that night we'd have supper, enough to feed all our kids and us. You know, otherwise, I don't know. Eating was kind of irrelevant anyhow. I drank so much coffee. It was ridiculous. It really was. Like, I should have turned into a cup of coffee at that point. But so we had this family room. And next door to us, after a day or two, the driver's family got that room. Now, mind you, we've all separated ways and we're all avoiding each other because there's cops, there's lawyers, there's all these different people involved in this mess, and you don't trust anyone. Because we're starting to get some inkling as to what happened, and we realized that we had to protect her and we had to protect our family because you don't know what's coming next.
Right.
So anyhow, next door, we could overhear them talking and they could overhear us talking. So we just always chose not to talk about anything important in that room. Like, let's step outside or let's go to some remote part of the hospital where people can't hear us so we can converse with what we need to do. Now, mind you, everybody's a little crazy right now. And I'm sure some people weren't taking meds like they were supposed to, right? Like, because some really bad situations came about. And the driver's mother accused me of threatening to kill her.
Okay.
So hospital security shows up and tells us that if I don't knock it off, we're getting thrown out of the hospital because our daughter doesn't need us. And I said, well, there's a video camera right outside our room. Please show me at any point where I've talked to these people, because we hadn't. We had cut off all communication with all of them because it's just in our best interest. It's in Morgan's best interest. They said, if anything happens again, you're out of here. And so phone calls were made because we had some friends who were friends with the administrator and all this other stuff. And so we had people standing up for us saying this is not a good situation. The next day, we had a meeting with the lady from one of the brain rehab centers that we were trying to get Morgan to. And we had spent pretty much the whole morning with her. And then about I won't forget this. It was like 11:30, and then our priest showed up. And we were with the priest until almost 1. So our whole morning from 8:30 on, we were with someone. And then at little after 1, the Sioux Falls Police Department showed up. And I'm like, they started hollering at us saying, get your stuff packed up. You have 5 minutes to leave. And we're like, what is going on? And at this point, our cousin had gotten us a different attorney. And I'm like, here, you need to sign this trespassing thing. And you need to get out of here, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, what is going on? And they're like, you threatened to kill her again. And I'm like, we've been with people all day. I haven't even seen them. And they didn't want to hear it. Hospital security showed up. I texted our friend who quick called the administrators so that The administrator came down, and I'll never forget hearing this little weaselly security guy tell the administrator that he didn't care what she had to say, that we were out. And the police are threatening to arrest us. It's chaos. It is sheer chaos in that moment. We're getting thrown out of the hospital where our daughter is in ICU because of a false accusation. And the police are like, "Where's your husband?" And I said, "Well, I didn't lose him. Why don't you go find him?" They sent 4 officers to go find my husband. They brought 6 officers to come and get rid of us. Okay. So we had to leave. We had no choice. The administrator was very super, super kind. And she's like, I said, "Can we please go say goodbye to Morgan, please?" And she said, "Yes, go right to her room and just stay there." So we did. And while we were in there, I went to the nurse's station in ICU and I said, "She needs to be transferred right now to another hospital. We're not staying. If we're getting thrown out, she is not staying here without us." End of discussion. Get the paperwork. She said, "Well, the doctor's in surgery." I said, "I don't care where he is. Go get him. Because if we're getting thrown out, Morgan is getting transferred." And she says, "Well, there's nothing we can do till morning." I said, "I am not leaving my daughter, but the police are throwing us out. The hospital is throwing us out." Can you imagine?
Oh, man. Pouring gasoline on a stressful situation.
So once again, I had to call my parents and say, "I need you to get down here right away. You need to come take care of her. They're throwing us out." So my parents had to empty the family room for us. We got a hotel room across the street. And my parents had to spend the night with Morgan and call us with any decisions because we weren't allowed in the hospital.
Over false accurate.
Over a false accusation. Can you imagine?
Ugh.
I know. It's like unheard of.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe.
I've never even seen a Hollywood script like this.
I've told people this story and they're like, "No, there's no way." I'm like, "Yeah." I still have in Morgan's scrapbook the charges that the police were charging us with. It was crazy. It was crazy. So we had to leave. I bawled and Tom was so upset. He just paced. I'm honestly surprised that he didn't like tear a wall down with his bare hands because he was so upset. I was upset, but unfortunately or fortunately, women are a little more emotional, you know. Yeah. So the next morning we got a call from the hospital that said we could come back and be with Morgan, but the only place we could be was with her, and we'd have to be escorted by security. The same people that threw us out are now supposed to escort us through the hospital direct to her room, and if we needed to leave her room, security had to escort us back and forth. Like we were
Criminals.
Okay.
I did not know this.
So we finally get over to Morgan's room and we're able to sit with her again. And so we just didn't leave her room. We couldn't leave the room without security escort.
Even to go to the bathroom.
Even to go to the bathroom.
Humiliating too.
Yeah. So we ended up talking to her trauma surgeon that morning. And he said, "Listen, she's too critical to move. We can't move her. The ambulance ride would make the bleeding in the brain worse." So he said, "I'm going to fix this." So he transferred Morgan to the ICU step-down unit. And there was a parking ramp real close there and a back entrance that they told us we could use. It's like a doctor's entrance, but they told us we could use that. So it went from the parking ramp right up to Morgan's floor, and then right around the corner from the elevator was Morgan's room.
Okay.
So we didn't have to be anywhere near the other families. We were in our own wing of the hospital, protected from them. So,
Thank goodness for small favors.
yeah. Yeah, that was definitely a blessing from God that we had that trauma surgeon. He was so kind and just very compassionate. He understood our need to want to move her, but he couldn't let her be transferred for her own safety. So he gave us the second best situation. And actually it worked out to be a much better situation. It really did. It was quiet, twice the size room. Instead of having one-on-one care, it was, one nurse to two patients, but it's okay. It was okay.
Did you ever get resolution about what got you escorted out?
No.
No. Okay.
Years later, yes. But at that time, no. And thank God we had a lawyer, because the lawyer had to work with the police department so we could even go back to the hospital. Even though the hospital was saying we could, we still had
That trespass.
this trespass from the police station. Yeah.
Okay.
So our lawyers got that resolved. So now we're back to, okay, life is quiet again.
Okay.
Now let's continue to take care of Morgan.
And this is still within the first
couple weeks.
10 days, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was not a quiet journey.
No.
And it wasn't just worrying about Morgan healing and taking care of her. It was, holy shit,
True.
we got to deal with all this other stuff. We got lawyers and crazy family members getting thrown out of the hospital, the police. Now, on top of it, we still have Highway Patrol trying to investigate, who are demanding that we speak with them. And we kept saying, talk to our lawyer, talk to our lawyer. He's like, well, if you just talk to us, we'll go away. And I said, talk to our lawyer. They cornered us in a room, and he just kept going after us. This one highway patrolman kept going after us. You have to answer. I said, what part of we have a lawyer do you not understand? So even they wouldn't let it go.
I think that's probably a good spot to end episode 2. Wow.
Wow.
And I know it only gets
Crazier. It gets
I
crazier.
can't say better. It only gets crazier.
It does get crazier. Like the first 2 weeks were hell, and we haven't even got through all of the first 2 weeks yet.
Right.
Because there's Morgan's, and then we have all these shoots off the main pathway.
I'm kidding. We're going to end every episode telling you to go to givemorgan.org.
Or telling you to go to Craig Bertrand's real estate page, which is realtor CraigBertrand.com.
Yeah. Follow us, subscribe, share a video, share videos, share a podcast, whichever way you're watching this, listening to it. We appreciate it.
We do. We appreciate feedback. If you have any feedback, if you have stories about Morgan, please email us, reach out, send them to us. We'd love to hear them.
We'll tell them. We'll tell them on camera, on podcasts.
Yes.
Questions you may have, if we can answer them, we'll get to them.
We will. Thank you.
Everybody always says like, comment, and subscribe, but we know you'll do it anyways. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. We love hearing from you guys, so keep the comments and the questions coming for us.
Yes. Love the questions. Please subscribe. Go to www.accusations.com www.givemorgan.org, or visit me at my real estate website, realtorcraigbertrand.com. And we always want your questions, comments, like, and share wherever you listen or watch.
Thank you.
Thank you.